What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Bunker Office Hours, a weekly live show brought to you by the team at Bunker Labs, a national network of veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs dedicated to helping the military-connected community start and grow their own business. 25% of transitioning service members want to start a business, and they need places inside their community where they can connect with the people, resources, and support they need. We're here for them. Good morning, everyone out there. Hope you all are having a great week. Today, I'm joined by my colleagues, Kai Blakely and Amy Morrison. And I'm going to go ahead and pass over to Amy to tell everybody what's going on in the bunker in the next couple of weeks.
Okie dokie. Yeah, we've got 4 events. June's popping this month. So we got 4 events this week, all on Thursday, June 17th. So first up, we've got a Columbus in-person event, Funding Your Business, putting yourself in the position to receive outside funding. That's a early afternoon, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time event. So yeah, that's an early one in person, Columbus. Okay, and then we've got a Chicago event also on the 17th. That one's at 3 p.m. also in person. So that's a Hail and Farewell for our veterans and residents program. So one cohort going out, the next cohort coming in. You can learn about all those companies at that event. And then Las Vegas on also the 17th. That one's 4 p.m. And then finally, Dallas Fort Worth is a Bunker Connect at 6:30 p.m. also in person. More information at chapters.bunkerlabs.org.
Now, real quick, Kai, as we're streaming right now, we're streaming on all social media platforms. But one thing I'm not noticing us up on LinkedIn yet. So just giving you a heads up out there. But while Kai's looking at that, one thing I want to talk about is how do we use office hours, right? So again, we don't have a customer service support at Bunker Labs, so we understand that a lot of y'all out there are in the entrepreneurial hustle. You might get stuck on the day-to-day, right? Or you have a question and you feel like you can't reach anybody. Listen, come to office hours. This is your opportunity to engage with people within the Bunker Labs staff and contractors and everything else, the people making the magic work. And so if you come in office hours, you ask your questions, even if we don't have the answers here, we can find the answers for you and get back to you with it. So this is like your go-to resource for coming and asking any and all, entrepreneurial questions that we can go back and either create some content around for you all out there to do a deep dive, or just have some of our SMEs within the network, answer your questions here on the spot. So that's the purpose behind office hours. I think right now we probably have 3 different cohort programs going on. We've got our CEO circle. We've got our veterans and residents. We've got our ambassadors. And so within each of those programs, people have questions. And so we want this platform to be their go-to resource as well. So listen, this is a fun opportunity to be able to hear and come up here and engage with you all. So I just want to encourage you, show up each week, come with your questions, and allow us to help accelerate you. And so for today, one of the things we're going to be talking about is how to simplify your go-to-market strategy. And I'll tell you why we decided to come up with this topic. One of the privileges of creating content for Bunker, being on the other side of the veil, is we get exposure to a lot of entrepreneurs. I had a chance to go through the first veteran residence cohort back in 2018, into 2017, really early 2018. And since then, I've had a chance to see, God, I don't know, probably 1,000 entrepreneurs. And a lot of the struggles I see coming up over and over again really come down to sometimes I think we overcomplicate our marketing and our sales. So what we did is we came up with a quick guide to kind of go over you all how to simplify your go-to-market strategy. And so I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. And I'm interested to hear your feedback in the chat, so feel free to message us. But one of the first things I want to talk about is, and I've said this over and over and over again, right? You have to identify a perfect customer, right? And a lot of times when you meet a first-time entrepreneur, especially in the early stages, you ask them who is their target market, and they say, "Oh, my target market is like 25 to 70," right? That's like too broad. You know what I mean?
Everybody.
Because that's everybody, really, because a 25-year-old has different goals and life aspirations than a 75-year-old. And so when you're coming up with your marketing copy, right, or you're coming up with your offering, right, you're going to miss some people because of that. And so one of the first things I want you to do is go ahead and really hone in on that hone in on that perfect customer. So for me, right, I have a chance. I love to produce. I love to produce podcasts. Right, that's my bread and butter. That's how I bring in my income. Somebody says someone with the pulse. Yeah, someone with the pulse. Um, and so for me, my target market are veteran business leaders and nonprofit executives of typically professional service firms, right, with enough cash flow on hand to afford my podcasting services. You understand, right? So what I say there, veteran, right, professional services, okay, and they have decent cash flow, right? So then if I say decent cash flow, probably bringing in over $1 million in revenue per year and up, all right, to afford podcast services. When you know that, right, then it's a lot easier to say, okay, now I go down my hit list and it's like, okay, what firms that are in the space, whether it's family offices or some other, offering that has that revenue. Because otherwise, if you go veteran business that make, I don't know, $1,000 a month, probably not the best perfect customer for me. And so what you see a lot of times is you see a lot of people, they have great products and they have great offerings, but they're selling it and marketing it to the wrong demographic. Kai and Amy, what are your thoughts?
How did you come to that? Like, did you figure that out through trial and error, or did you do research, different ways of researching it, or you're just testing it out?
So the long answer is I failed a lot, right? I wasn't selling my classes, because one of the first businesses I came up with was a corporate wellness business. So going on site, teaching boxing to companies in the New York City metro area. And I thought my perfect customer was the tech companies, the WeWork, the Spotify's, all that kind of stuff. And they sound good on paper, right? Like they look good in the branding, being able to throw these big name brands, the Etsy's of the world, but the price point wasn't the best at all, And then I also realized I didn't like working through the gatekeepers, the little office manager that I got to go through and everything. And it wasn't until I ended up getting a business coach, and he really started, his name's Bill Watkins. He runs a group called the Lions Pride, and he started teaching me about perfect customer. And then I found out that my perfect customer for corporate wellness was, believe it or not, car dealerships, right? I forgot the guy's name, the manager of a car dealership, right? Because they have a sales staff, right, working on commission, all right? So in order to incentivize them, they bring in people like me, right? And they're always doing events and stuff to keep them motivated, And then what happens at, a lot of car companies, right? A lot of people didn't necessarily have any kind of wellness offerings. It's not like you're competing against, the Googles of the world where everybody is going after them. So when I would pick up the phone and I called, I'm like, hey, my name is Mike Stead with Ironbound. We teach on-site boxing to car dealerships in the New York City metro area. They were like, yo, sign me up, right? And those were actually my best clients before the pandemic. But I would have never known that, But once I figured out that was the best client, it was easy. I would just get online, or I would look in the phone book. Not phone book. Nobody uses phone books anymore. But just get online and start calling up all these car dealerships on the East Coast in New Jersey. And so that's how, basically, trial and error, having enough wherewithal, like I said, to get a mentor, whether it's a business coach or somebody else, and then actually applying it. And then you start to realize.
Seems like that business coach is critical too. Just having some that first step of accountability, pushing you towards that helps a lot.
Accountability. Somebody look over your six, because when we start our businesses, we're so focused in, and we can get tunnel vision, and you need people outside, whether it's a cohort program or a mentor or an advisor, somebody that can come in and say, hey, you're missing these blind spots. You're not looking at that. So that was super helpful for me. And Carrie Sue says, how did I find my business coach? I had kind of reached the point to where I was looking for it. I didn't even know what a business coach was. I was just reaching out to my incubator here in Newark and saying I needed some help with some productivity, because I was struggling balancing everything. A lot of us don't feel like we really know what we're doing. Let's be honest, right? Everybody's making up. Starting a business,
Seriously.
especially a small business, is like the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? You're out there, you're the guy behind the curtain. You got an arm over here. You're doing all this different stuff, and it can feel frustrating because you don't know what you're doing. And so I just feel like I want to get more organized. I want to get more productive. And so somebody had called me, and I was like, yeah, sign me up. So happy to talk about that offline as well. All right, so the next thing, right? And this is funny because I was literally just talking to Todd Connor about this yesterday, the founder of Bunker Labs, and also on our latest episode of The Transition with Evan Seal from Verb Labs, is when you're going to market, right? Like when you're going out there, you're ready to launch, right? What I want you to do is pick one product or service that you're going to market with. All right. Now, what do I mean by that? Like, let's say I start a product-based business and I want to sell, I don't know, what's a good product to sell? Somebody tell me.
Dang. I don't know, printers.
Yeah, let's say printers, or let's say I'm going to do like a handmade product, like some topical solutions, some cream or something, right?
Yeah,
cream.
Safe cream.
Cream, all right. I could come out and like make 5-6 different product lines, right? Mind you, I'm just launching, okay? And I come up with like 6 different product lines, and then I put all that on my website. You know what I mean? I put it all on my pitch deck and everything, and then I go out there and I'm trying to sell all 6 of these different products, right? And each of them require what? Different ingredients, different descriptions, different this, different packaging. That, right? Different packaging. They each need different packaging, right? When you're first starting out, right? And this is for my bootstrap entrepreneurs out there. You don't really have a lot of money. Let's be honest, right? You got to be very intentional about how you're spending that money. It's very challenging to maintain 6 different product lines when you're first starting out as a bootstrap entrepreneur, as opposed to picking 1, 2, at most 3 just to start out with, and then narrowing down to 1. And what I found, right, and this is just me in the ecosystem, seeing a bunch of other entrepreneurs and everything, is there's always that one product that gets you to the stratosphere. Like even if you roll out with, say, 3 different products, right, there's going to be one product that is doing better than all the others, right? And so for us as entrepreneurs, it's very hard to stay focused, right? Like, we all get shiny object syndrome. As soon as we launch, like, we're all hyped up, but the day-to-day grind just sucks. Let's be honest, right? A lot of us are visionaries. We don't necessarily want to do the day-to-day. And so, it's challenging, right, to stay focused. But the thing is, right, in order to really get to where you want to go, you've got to have a certain amount of revenue, got to have a certain amount of success, right? And it's easier to focus and achieve that by focusing on that one product and getting that one product off into the stratosphere, doing really well with it, and then using the success from that to branch off and build your other products, right? So I'll give you an example, okay? So let's say you do your pitch deck. Y'all are going to the Bunker Labs, musters, and everything else, right? You got your deck on, right? And you put up your financials, right? And you've got your financials like all over the place. Everybody hides their financial slides. Like we're just like, this is magically going to happen. We're going to bring in this amount of revenue this year, blah, 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 right? Well, guess what? When you pick one product, and let's say that product, I've come up with a cream and it's like $50, right? I come in and say, okay, we can sell 1,000 creams at $50, right? My math is bad, y'all. I'm a grunt. So whatever 50 times 1,000 is, right? But that's something that you can actually track and measure. So let's say I go to like a wholesale pop-up or something, right? I go to this one event. I sell 50 of my creams right off the bat, right? Boom. And I'm like, okay, I just did one pop-up. Now, if I do a couple more in the city and I'm averaging to selling 50 per pop, right? Let's say I do 5, right? That's 250 right there, all right? Maybe I'm selling, 50 a week online, right? Of this one product. And so you see what I'm saying? You can just start tracking that one product. The price points are. You get really good at it. And then you built your business around that one product. And this works for services too, right? A lot of times service-based, when you're first starting out, people want to offer so much stuff. Same thing. We do this, we do marketing, we do branding, we do your social media, right? We'll do all this kind of stuff. And it's like you're losing your mind trying to balance all this kind of stuff out instead of coming out and saying like, hey, we offer this social media package, right? For $5,000 a month. We'll handle this. It comes with the package, right? And a minimum of like 3 months for this thing, right? And then you just focus on selling that one package. You call it the platinum package or something for $5,000. And you're like, okay, man, if I sell 3 platinum packages within the next 3 months, that's $15,000. You're really like building your business now. And so that's what I mean by like really focusing on that one product or service, going to market at it, and then getting really good with it.
And it goes. This ties into the third step that we're about to get into, which is to develop your simple one-page marketing plan, because it simplifies. It sounds like it simplifies your mind as far as what you need to create, your distribution strategy, the entire workflow from your end. But it also simplifies it for the customer because it cuts through the clutter of decision making and kind of like the Aldis or like the companies that have gotten really good at just giving you. People don't want, a huge selection. They want to just be told like, hey, look, this is what it is. This is what it costs. It's simple, to varying degrees. But I think it does well for both. But I don't know if you want to get into the third
No,
step.
you're spot on. Like I know you, yeah. Kai is a great videographer, right? He's a narrative videographer. His bread and butter are creating these really high-end narrative productions, right? That's his thing. Like that's his specialty. And you've gotten really good at it, and you've invested a lot of time in learning how to master that. And so that's like a great package that you're able to go to organizations with and say, hey, this is, what we're able to do. Now, shifting gears on, and like you said, this market. Exactly. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Kai.
I was going to say from my perspective, it's true too. Is like when I arrive on scene, when I have to film a documentary, there's 1,000 different ways I can tell Mike's story tomorrow. If I spend 2 or 3 days with Mike, there's so many different angles. So having some idea of like kind of what that is it the business struggle? Is it the person? Is it the overall topic of, is it his transition out of the military? Is it him being a New Yorker or not being a New Yorker, but living in New York? I mean, all these different directions, but having some kind of like goal, some kind of azimuth that you can shoot towards, that makes it also simple later on down the road. So yeah, you're right. It applies a lot to my job.
And on this, so the marketing plan piece, and like everybody talks marketing. Marketing is cool, it's fun. But one thing I found, and this is speaking for self, my own journey, is, man, sometimes it's like we come up with these elaborate marketing plans, but then we suck at executing them, And the reason we suck at executing them is because we put too much on the plate. We're like, we're going to do email, we're going to go out to events, we're going to post on social media. And then what else are we doing? We're like going to do a video, and we're doing all these activations, and you got all these different things you're doing, right? When you're bootstrapped and you're starting out, like you're like one-on-one. Let's be honest. Maybe you have one other person, like a spouse or a cousin or something that's helping you out. But we all know when someone emails you info at, what they really mean is you. Okay. So how do you have all the time to manage the social media, write the email newsletters, do all this kind of stuff? And don't get me wrong, there's some rock stars out there that are able to do all this kind of stuff. I'm saying for me, I can't do it. All right. So one of the things that's a simple marketing plan is like, come up with your target market, identify that message to that target market, right? And then from there, it's like, what medium are we going to use to reach that target market? Is it going to be a podcast? Is it going to be a live show? Is it going to be posting on social media? Is it going to be a newsletter, right? Something simple that you can hone in and focus on, right? So what you want to do is you want to pick a medium, right? You want to, whatever that medium is, it's just simple for you, but don't do all podcast, newsletter, all that kind of stuff right off the bat. Just pick one to start out with and then get really, really good with it. But the thing about this medium is your medium needs to be able to speak to your target market, right? That perfect customer. If I'm selling products, right, where my perfect customers probably spend a lot of time on, right? Probably Pinterest, Instagram, because it's very visual. Those are places where makers tend to go. People love that kind of stuff, right? Probably doesn't make sense for me to be posting this stuff on, like, I don't know, some third party social media platform that's like not very visual, that a lot of people don't like, right? And then I can say it's like, oh man, people aren't buying my product or service. That's not where they spend their time, right? So you got to really get into the mind of your perfect customer and then build your marketing plan around that, like we talked about at step 1. And then the last thing we talked about is, so after we develop that one-page marketing plan, I think the last thing is go out and just sell like a maniac, right? Is that what I have on there? Like focus on selling that one thing, right? Like literally track and say, okay, how many of these products or services am I bringing in, week over week or at the end of the month, right? Just like focus on that. And like, listen, man, I'm telling you all this stuff and I'm like terrible at following my own advice a lot of times, because y'all that know me know I got a lot going on outside of my podcast company and our nonprofit. But like I'm telling you, when I sit down and I focus, right, this stuff works. Right, when I launched my media company, that was the thing. I sat down and I launched these podcast packages and just really honed in on it, and it was just boom, 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 just moving, and it was easier for me because I just felt a lot more, like you said, Kai. There comes this clarity when you focus. You know what I mean? When it's like you take the decision out of it. It's like, this is who we are. This is what we offer, and I offer 3 different packages at different price points, but they pretty much it was the same offering, right? It's just that you get bonus depending on what package you pick. But like, I had to focus on selling. And the thing about selling is a contact sport, right? Selling is not like there's hype and then there's selling. Okay, what is hype? Who's this comment? Somebody says they have a funny story about me being super focused. So let's talk about the difference between hype and selling. Okay, hype is, look at me, I'm on Instagram. My website looks dope, right? My Instagram page looks dope. I'm always posting photos of me as the founder, sitting down at my laptop, looking really important, writing some motivational quote. And then all you out there come to my social media and y'all are like, this is hypothetical. This is not me, by the way. But then you come to the social media and you're like, oh man, Mike is killing it. Man, your business is so awesome, blah, 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 right? That's a lot of hype, because at the end of the day, you have no idea what that person is bringing in behind the scenes. They got a lot of time to spend flexing on social media. They don't have a lot of time, selling. And so what ends up happening is, for us as new entrepreneurs, right, we come into the ecosystem, we launch our business, and we spend our time focused on a lot of hype, photo shoots, paying high quality videos and all this kind of stuff, because people tell us that's what we need. But at the end of the day, I feel like when you're first starting out, you got to get out there, man. You got to be like an evangelist on your product. Like, you got to get in front of people, and you got to engage them, find out what their problem is, what they're willing to pay for, right? Validating that they're willing to pay for it by exchanging that money, and then building your business that way. And then as you start to bring in revenue, and then you can say, okay, I want to bring in more revenue. Then you can say, okay, does it make sense for me to invest in a photo shoot? Does it make sense for me to bring on a videographer, right? But you want to do it in phases, stages, and parts, right? Like, I'm a Marine. We got phases, stages, and parts. So the first part is when you're launching, let's be honest, most of us want to make this thing real. We want to focus on our businesses, right? Maybe you are like third shift entrepreneurs. You got your day job, you got your family, and you're working in the late hours and the early mornings. Okay. How do you get to the point where you can work on your venture full time? The reality is you got to bring in money. You got to bring in revenue. So how do you bring in that revenue? You got to do it smart, So early on, a lot of your time, energy, and resources need to be spent on honing in that one product or service, really dialing everything down. Comment from Jason. Yeah. Appreciate it, Jason. And then just going out there and like selling the hell out of it. And again, for me, I had, again, got to give credit to my business coach. My business coach would call me. He's like, Mike, get out there and start selling. He's like, slick your hair back, brush your beard, get out there and start getting in front of people. Stop hiding behind the computer. Stop, getting in all this hype. And once I learned that, man, it really was like a game changer. And there's a whole other strategies around how to do it properly, because even within selling, you need to have a plan, right? You got to make it easy for people to work with you. So if I come to your website and say, Mike, I want to buy one of your creams, how do I do it? Go to my website, place your order, boom, boom, boom. Super simple. If you have a product or service, how do I work with you? Go to my website, book a consultation. We meet, consultation, pick your package, and then we start working on your product. But you can't assume that your customers know this, which is why you got to map it out for them, right? So that they know how to work with you. And even if if they're not perfect for you, they might be perfect for somebody. Like, you might be perfect for somebody else. And so then they can come across someone. They're like, yeah, man, I seen, Mike, or I seen Jason, with their business, whatever. How do I work with them? Well, you go to their website, you book a consultation. It's that simple. All right. So that's my 4-step process for developing a simplified go-to-market strategy. I know I rambled a little bit today, and I was missing to see our people from LinkedIn on here, but it's all good.
next time.
Yeah, we can record this.
Damn
We'll
API.
record this.
Yeah.
We can record this video and get it up on there.
The LinkedIn
Yeah, it'll be
API
on there.
is not the greatest.
Amy and so Amy and Kai, what is your feedback on what we talked about today?
I mean, it motivates me, honestly. I'm like thinking, the package for me is like, corporations or startups and selling their one story. What are their struggles and how people can engage with them? I mean, it's a short step. I keep going back to the marketing book that we talk about so much here.
One-page marketing plan.
The one-page marketing plan. And what's the other one, Amy? The Miller's one.
Donald Miller. He's got marketing made simple.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah. Let's,
I was gonna say we could talk about this all day. It's like my feedback. It's like there's so many like areas in each one of those like topics you could like go on for days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's motivating, Mike. Let's get. You got a book recommendation.
Yeah, I got a quick book recommendation because we went a little over our time. But my book for today is Eureka Results: How Entrepreneurs Can Turn Their Best Ideas into Reality. A field guide. It's by someone named Ashley Berghoff, and I have Ashley because her company A Squared, I believe it's A Squared, helps entrepreneurs like me basically get our operations organized. Right. So a lot of times like process consultants, mapping out the process from customer experience to delivering your product to everything. And the nice thing I like about this book is she gets real. Right. And the reality of it is, man, like, why are we starting businesses? Some people want to get out there and they think they want to raise a bunch of money and work, hustle. But then there's a lot of lifestyle entrepreneurs out there, freelancers. And guess what? If you're a freelancer or a lifestyle entrepreneur, it's okay. You have other aspirations you want to do outside of work. And so how are we building the businesses around the lives that we want to live? And what are some processes in order to do that, such as setting your vision, being clear about, what you want out of this, coming up with a step-by-step process to achieve it. It's really good. But the thing I like about this book the most is I feel like she speaks a lot to like how I kind of view entrepreneurship. I'm a social entrepreneur. My nonprofit is very important to me. And so anything I can do that frees me up to allow me to work on the nonprofit that's real meaningful is very impactful for me. And so she kind of lays out a framework for doing that. So check it out. I got her on the podcast, The Transition. It's a great book.
Awesome. And then let's get into the USA course this week. Amy, do you want to cover that?
Sure.
All right.
I can. So we have a new online course on Bunker Online. In partnership with USAA, Bunker Labs has launched a new online course. It's called Finances for Military Founders and Families. It's presented by industry thought leader Lacey Langford, the military money expert. Some of y'all out in the community might know her. So the new course, you can find it on Bunker Online. Link is in the chat. Covers everything from basics like budgeting to building a portable business that moves with your PCS. The course takes about 45 minutes to complete in total, and it's got some great tools for your entrepreneur toolkit as you prepare to launch or move your business, and focuses on how to manage finances for business and life. So it's not just entrepreneurial finance stuff. There's some like personal finance stuff, but it's targeted for the military community. So milspouses, active duty, and recently transitioned.
I can personally vouch for Lacey Langford. She's amazing. Be sure to check that course out. And I know we went a little bit over today, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up. First, I'd like to acknowledge our virtual event sponsors, the MetLife Foundation and the Gannett Foundation. The MetLife Foundation is committed to supporting veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. In addition, the foundation also provides mentorship and financial health resources to veterans and military spouses transitioning into the workforce. A Community Thrives, a program funded by the Gannett Foundation as part of the USA Today network, invest in community building initiatives across the country with the goal of creating a positive change through service to historically marginalized or under-resourced groups. Thank you to the MetLife Foundation and the Gannett Foundation for all your amazing work for the veteran and military spouse entrepreneur community. And be sure to subscribe to the Transition Podcast presented by MetLife, where we demystify the entrepreneur experience for veterans and military spouses of early stage startups and small businesses. You can listen to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast hosting platform. And we'd greatly appreciate it if you subscribed and rated and left us a review. If you want to get plugged into the Bunker Lab ecosystem, visit www.bunkerlabs.org, select a city nearest to you, and sign up for the local newsletter. Attend one of our networking events, either in person or virtual. It's that simple. And from there, be sure to get connected at Bunker Online, where you can learn about our many different programs to support your entrepreneurial journey. We have programs that'll take you from idea to invoice, bait you, and position you to grow alongside other founders and CEOs. Register today by clicking connect at bunkerlabs.org. Thanks again for tuning in today, everyone. It's always a pleasure to host these live shows for you. Shout out to my colleagues, Kai Blakely, Amy Morrison, and Carrie Sue behind in the background. So until next week, peace, love, and have a great rest of your week. And download the Transition Podcast.